He prayed, but what happened next will shock you. Jago starts his day with high hopes. He's a middle-class Lagosian heading to a crucial business meeting. Despite waking up early, unforeseen circumstances delay him, leading to frustration and worry about making it on time. As Jago navigates the bustling streets of Lagos, he encounters gridlock traffic. The city's noise, chaos, and heat exacerbate his tension, setting the stage for the calamity to come. In a shocking turn of events, Jago's car is rear-ended, leading to a multi-vehicle collision. The crash is jarring, and panic ensues among the drivers and passengers involved. Jago exits his car to inspect the damage. People shout and argue, blame flies around. Amidst the turmoil, Jago begins to wonder if his day can get any worse. Realizing his insurance policy might not cover the situation, Jago feels overwhelmed. He begins to pray, seeking divine intervention as tempers flare and threats of violence surface. A calm and enigmatic stranger steps in, diffusing tensions. His soothing words and confidence intrigue Jago, offering a glimmer of hope. Jago reflects on his life before the chaos of Lagos traffic and the struggles of adulthood. This chapter dives into his motivations, values, and dreams. A deep dive into Lagos challenges, economic disparity, infrastructure issues, and the toll they take on ordinary citizens like Jago. The arrival of law enforcement adds another layer of complexity. The officers demand bribes, exacerbating Jago's frustration. Jago's prayer seems answered when the mysterious stranger intervenes, convincing the officers to let everyone go without further trouble. The sweltering Lagos sun bore down as the chaos around the accident scene reached its peak. Shouts and curses filled the air, echoing off the dented cars and the milling crowd. Jago stood to the side, his shirt drenched with sweat, his heart racing as if trying to escape his chest. The officers had arrived, their stern faces promising trouble instead of resolution. "Who is responsible here?" barked one of them, his tone as sharp as a whip. Jago opened his mouth to speak, but fear rendered him mute. The mysterious stranger who had earlier calmed the crowd stepped forward again, his presence as commanding as a soldier on a battlefield. "Officers, there's no need to escalate this," he began, his voice calm yet firm. He gestured to the damaged vehicles. "It's clear everyone here has suffered. Let's handle this with understanding." The officer squinted, his hand twitching toward his pocket where his notepad rested. "Understanding doesn't repair cars," he shot back. The stranger, unfazed, reached into his wallet and pulled out a crisp set of bills, slipping them discreetly into the officer's hand. "For the effort of coming out here," he said, his tone never breaking its soothing cadence. Jago watched in astonishment as the officers nodded, retreating without further argument. The tension in the air dissipated like steam from a boiling pot. "Who are you?" Jago finally managed to ask. The stranger turned to him with a small smile, his eyes unreadable. "Just someone who believes in helping," he said. With that, he turned and began walking away. Something about the man unsettled Jago, but he had no time to ponder. The stranger had saved them all from what could have been a catastrophic escalation, but his sudden departure left Jago with more questions than answers. The aftermath of the accident was chaotic, but it was nothing compared to the emotional whirlwind inside Jago. He stood by his car, staring at the crumpled rear bumper and wondering how he would cover the repairs. Around him, other drivers exchanged information, their tones varying between grudging cooperation and outright hostility. Jago wasn't sure what to do next. The mysterious stranger had disappeared into the crowd, leaving him without the lifeline that had kept the situation from spiraling. A tap on his shoulder broke his reverie. It was one of the other drivers involved in the accident, a middle-aged man with a face hardened by years of Lagos living. "We need to settle this here and now," the man said, his voice gruff. "No one wants to go to court or the police again." Jago nodded numbly. They quickly calculated repair costs, with the gathered crowd acting as informal witnesses. It was messy, but they reached an agreement. Jago handed over what little cash he had on him and exchanged phone numbers with the other drivers for further communication. By the time everything was settled, the sun was beginning to set, painting the city in hues of gold and red. As he got back into his car and started the engine, Jago felt the weight of the day pressing down on him. The accident wasn't just a physical collision, it had collided with his sense of stability, forcing him to question everything about his life in Lagos. He drove off, the noise of the city fading into the background. But in his heart, the stranger's words echoed, just someone who believes in helping. Who was that man, and why had he chosen to intervene? Jago knew he couldn't let it go. The day's events had changed something deep within him, and he was determined to uncover the meaning behind it. The days following the accident were uneasy for Jago. His routine felt fractured, like the crumpled bumper of his car. Yet, it wasn't just the accident or the money lost that haunted him, it was the mysterious stranger. Who was he? Why had he intervened, and why did he seem to vanish into thin air? One evening, as Jago sat in a small buka near his house, sipping watery pepper soup, he overheard a conversation at the next table. A man was describing a similar accident where a stranger had stepped in, calmed tensions, and resolved the issue before disappearing. The description matched Jago's savior almost exactly. Unable to hold back, Jago interrupted. "Excuse me, sir. This man you're talking about, who is he?" The man shrugged. "Nobody knows his real name. They call him Brother Gabriel. Some say he's a pastor, others say he's just one of those good Samaritans. But if you meet him, consider yourself lucky." Jago felt a chill run down his spine. Brother Gabriel. The name stuck with him as he walked home. Was this man an ordinary good Samaritan, or was there something divine about him? Jago's curiosity transformed into an obsession. He began asking around, visiting places where Brother Gabriel was rumored to appear. His search took him to the bustling streets of Oshodi, the quiet corners of Yaba, and even the chaotic markets of Balagan. At every turn, Jago encountered conflicting stories. Some people described Brother Gabriel as a saintly figure who appeared in moments of crisis. Others claimed he was nothing more than a clever con artist. Despite the skepticism, Jago's determination grew. One Sunday, Jago decided to attend a service at a popular church in Ikeja, where Brother Gabriel was rumored to preach occasionally. As the choir sang and the congregation swayed, Jago scanned the crowd, hoping for a glimpse of the enigmatic man. The sermon that day seemed tailored to Jago's circumstances. The preacher spoke about divine intervention in unexpected moments, and how faith could guide one through life's chaos. Jago felt as though the words were meant for him. Although Brother Gabriel was not present, Jago left the service with a renewed sense of purpose. If this man was sent by God, then surely there was a lesson to be learned. As weeks passed, strange coincidences began to occur in Jago's life. Small blessings, a successful work deal, an old friend offering financial help, and even a long-lost relative reaching out, seemed to guide him forward. Jago couldn't shake the feeling that these events were connected to Brother Gabriel. One evening, while walking home from work, Jago noticed a small crowd gathered near a roadside preacher. To his shock, the preacher was none other than Brother Gabriel. Jago pushed through the crowd, his heart pounding. "Brother Gabriel," he called out, his voice trembling with emotion. The preacher turned, his face calm and composed. "You've been looking for me," he said, as though he had known all along. Jago stammered, unsure where to begin. "Who are you? Why did you help me that day?" Brother Gabriel smiled faintly. "I'm just a man doing God's work. But the question isn't why I helped you, it's why you've been searching for me." The cryptic response left Jago bewildered, but it also ignited something within him. Brother Gabriel handed him a small booklet titled Faith in Action and encouraged him to read it. "When you're ready to understand, you'll find the answers," he said before walking away. Jago spent the next few days poring over the booklet. It was filled with stories of people who had found strength through faith and acts of kindness. The message was clear: faith without action is meaningless. Jago began applying the lessons he learned, seeking to make positive changes in his life. He offered help to strangers, reconciled with old friends, and even volunteered at his local church. But life in Lagos was relentless, and new challenges arose. His work demands increased, his finances remained tight, and his faith wavered under the weight of everyday struggles. One particularly bad day, Jago felt like giving up. He sat in his car, stuck in traffic, and questioned everything. Was he truly meant to follow this path? Did his efforts matter in a city as unforgiving as Lagos? As if in answer to his doubts, he saw a young boy selling water on the street. The boy's resilience reminded Jago of the strength required to survive. In that moment, Jago realized faith wasn't about avoiding struggles, it was about enduring them with hope. Months after the accident, Jago found himself back at the same buka where he had first heard of Brother Gabriel. This time, as he ate, he noticed a man quietly paying for meals for everyone in the restaurant. It was Brother Gabriel. Jago approached him again, this time with gratitude instead of questions. "I understand now," Jago said. "Faith isn't just about praying for miracles, it's about becoming part of the miracle." Brother Gabriel nodded. "Exactly. Lagos is chaotic, but it's also full of opportunities to show love and faith. You've learned the most important lesson, to trust in God's plan and act in faith." As Jago walked home that night, the city's chaos no longer felt overwhelming. He saw it as a tapestry of human stories, each one a chance to make a difference. The accident that had once felt like a curse had become a turning point, a call to live with purpose and faith.